to my channel. My name is Lamethea Denise and I'm new to YouTube. I was actually searching YouTube to find tips and tricks in order to pass my GACE history certification exam, and I couldn't find any. So I decided to make a video about what I did in order to pass the GACE history exam. Now, I found plenty of videos about, just passing the regular GACE assessment test, but nothing specifically about the GACE history certification exam. So I wanted to show you guys what I used in order to pass. So again, it's for the GACE history exam. The history exam is actually two parts. The first part is like 80 questions and the second part is 80 questions, so 160 questions. What I had to do is I had to use resources in order to do it. So let me show you what I used. So first thing first, I used the GACE history exam. This is what it looks like. And I actually used a teacher's edition world history. I actually purchased this on Amazon, and I also used the website from GACE. So let me kind of tell you what I did. So with this book in particular, the GACE exam book, what I did was that I actually read through it. Just skimmed through the book, just kind of like read about what it was. So remember, if you are actually new to world history or new to history, all this will kind of be, boring to you. I'm gonna just be honest, history is boring. So it'll be kind of boring to you. So you got to kind of like take your time to kind of like read through it. So I'm going to say first thing first. Let me just get down to the nitty gritty. First thing first, there is a test that's in the back of the book, and it looks like it's about, hold on y'all, it's about 100 questions. Go ahead and take the test that was in the back of the book, which allowed me to know or find out what I did and didn't know. So with all that being said, what I did was that I took index card. I did it kind of like old school. I wrote the questions on one side and flipped it over and wrote the answer on the back side. Whatever questions that you may have gotten wrong, it specifically tells you what to look in the book for whatever answer that you got wrong. See, for like here. So it tells you where to go in the book to find the correct answer. But my goal was to just get the questions and the answers written out so that I can start studying them. So that's kind of like what I did with the first book. So what I did was that once I had to read each chapter, I was like, okay, well, this really is not sticking with me. So I went ahead and just went to YouTube. YouTube kind of like taught me a little bit more and went into details of what it is that I was trying to, I was gathering, trying to understand. So the second thing that I did, I went onto the GACE website. And on the GACE website, they have a study guide, and it's called History Study Companion. So what I did, I kind of looked over it to see, well, what is it that you need? What is it that it's asking me for? So it breaks down what is it that they're going to test you on. So here it has test 1 subunits in world history. It kind of broke it down what percentage was going to be on the test and what all it was going to cover, which are basically standards that you might see in a classroom or what the teachers actually go over. So I read over that and to see exactly what it was that I was going to need. But at the end of the printout, it had tests. It had like test questions, a lot of different test questions. So what I did was that I studied the questions. I wrote the questions down on a note card. That works best for me. So I wrote the questions, whether or not I got them right or wrong. I wrote each question and the answer on a note card, an index card, like I did with the GACE book. So once I was done with that, I decided to go to YouTube if there was something that I really didn't understand, so it can kind of like teach me with me seeing it and hearing it. You know, it worked better for me. So that's what I did with the second part. So again, just like I did with the book, I took the quiz, I used the index card to write the questions down, and I did the same thing when it came to the study guide. So the third thing that I did, I actually went a step further. I took the standards that I had found and on GACE. I took the standards and I compared them with the standards for Georgia standards, because that's where I teach at. So I compared those standards with this standards to kind of like see where it was. But what I decided to do was print out the teacher's notes. The teacher's note gives you a breakdown of what the subject is or what that particular standard is talking about. And you get to learn on that part too. So that's basically what I did for the third part. So again, I compared the standards that I had got from the GACE website, and I compared it with Georgia standards. So all these things that I'm mentioning, you guys, I will make sure that I put it in the description box, so that all you have to do is just click on it and go to it. So again, if I didn't understand one of the standards or understand the topic, what I would do is I would actually YouTube it and let YouTube actually teach me a little bit more on it. So I want to say probably about a month. I want to say a month before it was time for me to take my test. I decided to purchase the GACE pre-test. So in the GACE pre-test, it's like 2 parts. It's part 1 and it's part 2, and they have the questions on them. Now the questions don't change. Even though you can take it multiple times, it don't change. So the same thing I did, I created some note cards, or I copied and pasted the questions and the answers on another document, and I just constantly read over the document. So again, if I didn't understand something, I would go back and YouTube it. However, because of the teacher's notes, I had an understanding of what it was talking about. So that's what I did with that. Now, you guys, if you are a reader and you want to know the full story about each of the standards or each of the subjects or the objectives that's going to be covered, I simply just bought a world history teacher guide, because I knew that I was going to teach world history. So when you're going through the history book, it has each of the stories of each of the standards that's in there. So whatever it was that we was discussing, if it was on who is this, let's say the Renaissance. So what I simply did, I just basically went to that particular chapter. I looked in the index and went to that chapter of the Renaissance, and I just read that all through. I took notes if I knew for a fact that I didn't have any other type of notes like that, or if that was something new for me, I just took notes on it. So I realized when I was looking over the video, well, editing the video, that I did a lot of talking. So I guess I wanted to just get straight to the point. So the first thing first, I purchased the GACE history certification book, which I showed you guys. I answered the test question. With that, I did Q&A flashcards. I read the book and I took notes. So that was the first thing that I did. The second thing I did, you go to your GACE website and you print out the history study companion guide. I took the test in the guide, and I made Q&A flashcards as well. The guide will come with the breakdown of the objectives of what will be on the test. So just keep that in mind. The third thing I did, I printed out the Georgia Standard History Teacher Notes. The notes have the content for each objective or standard simplified. The fourth thing I did, I compared the GACE objective to the Georgia Standard, and I checked off what I had covered and mastered. Okay, so 1 month before the test, I purchased the pre-tests on the GACE, which was $18 a piece. So again, it's 2 pre-tests that you need, part 1 and part 2. I created Q&A flashcards and whatever additional information that came behind it. Once you ask the question, then they'll give you they'll go into more detail about what it is that you're covering within that question. So again, at that 1 month mark, I retest the GACE workbook, the companion guide, test questions, the GACE pre-test. So I mastered all those questions. So what I didn't understand or what I was kind of foggy about, I YouTubed it. And again, you use your resources that you have, which will be, even if it's just a regular world history books that you may have picked up or got from Amazon. That'll work. I got my world history teacher edition, and I think I want to say I paid probably like $50 for it. I study every other day on a standard or an objective. So I think that's kind of like the gist of everything. So with all that being said, I wish you guys good luck. I'll see you on another video. Please subscribe to my channel, and also all the materials that I've discussed, I will put those in the description box so that you will have that information. And again, when it comes to the standard, whatever state that you in, just type in, let's say for an example, New York standards. So that's it.